Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, and today we are starting new chapter, chapter 4, the atrocities of King Kansa. Next one. Shri Shukuvacha Bahiranta Puradvara Sarva Purvavad Avritaha Tato Baladhvanim Shutva Grihpala Samutthitaha. Shukdev Goswami continued. My dear King Parikshit, the doors inside and outside the house closed as before. Thereafter, the inhabitants of the house, especially the watchmen, heard the crying of the newborn child and thus awakened from their beds. The activities of Yogamaya are distinctly visible in this chapter, in which Devaki and Vasudeva excuse Kansa for his many devious, atrocious activities, and Kansa becomes repentant and falls at their feet. Before the awakening of the watchmen and the others in the prison house, many other things happened. Krishna was born and transferred to the home of Yashoda in Gokul. The strong doors opened and again closed, and Vasudeva resumed his former conditions of being shackled. The watchmen, however, could not understand all this. They awakened only when they heard the crying of the newborn child, Yogamaya. So all pastimes going on, big time pastime. I mean, how can we even imagine the shackles getting opened up and then they're getting shackled again? Both Vasudeva and Devaki. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has remarked that the watchmen were just like dogs. At night, the dogs in the street act like watchmen. If one dog barks, many other dogs immediately follow it up by barking. Although the street dogs are not appointed by anyone to act as watchmen, they think they are responsible for protecting the neighborhood. And as soon as someone unknown enters it, they all begin to bark. Both Yogamaya and Mahamaya act in all material activities. But although the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead acts under the Supreme Lord's direction, dog-like watchmen, such as politicians and diplomats, think that they are protecting their neighborhoods from the dangers of the outside world. These are the actions of Maya. But one who surrenders to Krishna is relieved of the protection afforded by the dogs and dog-like guardians of this material world. Wow, heavy purport. So dogs, what do they do? If we go on the street and if it is his territory, then he will bark and his friends will come and bark at you, especially if some other dog comes in their territory on their street, because they act like watchmen. Actually, they don't care for anybody's property because they think it is theirs. It's a selfish reason. They think it is theirs, so they have to protect it. And similarly, Prabhupada says, dog-like watchmen such as politicians and diplomats. So all over the world, these things are going on. Politicians from India and diplomats from India, bureaucrats from India, working so hard day and night to protect the interests of India, and the politicians and bureaucrats and diplomats from Pakistan are doing the same, from China, from America, everybody's working so hard. No, this is our country, this is my country. Actually, everybody's self-vested interests are there. Whether they're working selflessly for the country, but the interest is there, my country. So this mentality is there. You have to go beyond this mentality. And this is what Prabhupada says. One who surrenders to Krishna is relieved of the protection afforded by the dogs and dog-like guardians of this material world because he's above all this. And then he goes back to the spiritual world. There is no such mentality over there. Of course, this was the reason when four Kumaras went to Vaikuntha and Jay and Vijay stopped them. And that's when they got angry. Kumaras got angry and they cursed them. They said, "You're acting like materialistic people. You're in Vaikuntha." So they got cursed. But that was again Krishna's or Vishnu's orchestration. But here, the watchmen or the doorkeepers of Kansa's prison house, they are acting like dogs. Te tu turnam upavritya devakya garba janma tat achakyur bhoj rajaya yad udvignaha pratikshate. Thereafter, all the watchmen were very quickly approached King Kansa, the ruler of the Bhoja dynasty, and submitted the news of the birth of Devaki's child. Kansa, who had awaited this news very anxiously, immediately took action. So they all ran towards Kansa and gave him the news that the Devaki's child has born. They don't know boy or girl because they just heard the baby crying and they just went to inform King Kansa. Kansa was very anxiously waiting because of the prophecy that the eighth child of Devaki would kill him. This time, naturally, he was awake and waiting. And when the watchman approached him, he immediately took action to kill the child. How anxious, because this all happened in the midnight. And by the time Vasudevji went to Gokul, came back maybe around 1 a.m., the middle of the night. Satalpa turna muthaya kalo ayamiti vivvala suti griham agaturnam prasakhalan mukta multaja. Kansa immediately got up from bed, thinking, here is Kal, the supreme time factor which has taken birth to kill me. Thus overwhelmed, Kansa has hair scattered on his head. At once approached the place where the child had been born. So Kansa didn't even wait to wash his face and wash his hair. He was sleeping, and then immediately he got up and came to the prison house. He was so afraid of Kal, and afraid, and at the same time, he wanted to kill Kal. Why? So that nobody could kill him, so that his sense gratification can go on unrestrictedly. Nobody wants to die. So he wanted to kill Kal. How is it possible? The word Kala is significant. Although the child was born to kill Kansa, Kansa thought that this was the proper time to kill the child so that he himself would be saved. Kal is actually another name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he appears only for the purpose of killing. When Arjuna inquired from Krishna in his universal form, who are you? The Lord presented himself as Kal, death personified to kill. By nature's law, when there is an unwanted increase in population, Kal appears. And by some arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, people are killed wholesale in different ways by war, pestilence, famine, and so on. At that time, even atheistic political leaders go to a church, mosque, or temple for protection by God or gods and submissively say, God willing, Bhagwan ki ichha aisi hi hogi. Before that, they pay no attention to God, not caring to know God or His will. But when Kal appears, they say, God willing. Death is but another feature of the Supreme Kal, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the time of death, the atheist must submit to this Supreme Kal, and then the Supreme Personality of Godhead takes away all his possessions, Mrityu Sarvarashchaham, and forces him to accept another body. This the atheists do not know, and if they do know, they neglect it so that they may go on with their normal life. The Krishna consciousness movement is trying to teach them that although for a few years one may act as a great protector or great watchman, with the appearance of Kal or death, one must take another body by the laws of nature. Not knowing this, they unnecessarily waste their time in their occupation as watchdogs and do not try to get the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is clearly said, aprapya mam nivartante. Without Krishna consciousness, one is condemned to continue wandering in birth and death, not knowing what will happen in one's next birth. So when Kal comes, nobody can say, nobody. When the time of death is there, nobody can say. Only Krishna can say. That's all. But that time, as Prabhupada said, atheists who are not devotees, then they run to the church or mosque or temples and for protection. Oh, and then they pray, and then because nothing can stop, nothing can protect them, then say, oh, God willing, this happened, God willing, that happened. This is how Krishna makes everybody understand who's God, what his position, what's his power. But those who are fools, those who don't want to surrender, they still don't understand. Throughout their life, they don't understand. What's the point in coming to this understanding, but we're still not full understanding? So they carry on with their birth, death, old age, disease, again birth, death, old age, disease. In one species of life was that. And this is what Prabhupada said, not knowing what will happen in one's next birth means what kind of birth, what species, what family, which planet, we don't know. Tamaha bhratram devi kripna karunam sati snushayam tav kalyana striyam ma hantum arhasi. Devaki helplessly, piteously appealed to Kamsa, my dear brother, all good fortune unto you. Don't kill this girl. She'll be your daughter-in-law. Indeed, it is unworthy of you to kill a woman. Kamsa had previously excused Devaki because he thought that a woman should not be killed, especially when pregnant. But now, by the influence of Maya, he was prepared to kill a woman. Not only a woman, but a small, helpless, newborn child. Devaki wanted to save her brother from this terrible, sinful act. Therefore, she told him, don't be so atrocious as to kill a female child. Let there be all good fortune for you. Demons can do anything for their personal benefit, not considering what is pious or vicious. But Devaki, on the contrary, although safe because she had already given birth to her own son, Krishna, was anxious to save the daughter of someone else. This was natural for her. So she wanted to save, and she even give this kind of Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed, everything is going on. She said, okay, she will be your daughter-in-law. I'll marry her to your son, and don't kill her. She will not be the source of your death, cause of your death. Don't kill her. Bhavo hinsita brata shishva pavakopamaha tvaya deva nisrishtena putri kaika pradiyatam. My dear brother, by the influence of destiny, you have already killed many babies, each of them as bright, as beautiful as fire. But kindly spare this daughter. Give her to me as your gift. She's trying to pray to the good side of Kamsa. Here we see that Devaki first focused Kamsa's attention on his atrocious activities, his killing of her many sons. Then she wanted to compromise with him by saying that whatever he had done was not his fault, but was ordained by destiny. So don't worry, whatever happened, happened. Then she appealed to him to give her the daughter as a gift. Devaki was a daughter of a Kshatriya and she knew how to play the political game. In politics, there are different methods of achieving success. First repression, dama, then compromise, sham, and then asking for a gift, dan. Devaki first adopted the policy of repression by directly attacking Kamsa for having cruelly, atrociously killed her babies. Then she compromised by saying that this was not his fault, and then she begged for a gift. As we learn from the history of Mahabharata, the greater India, the wives and daughters of the ruling class, the Kshatriyas, knew the political game. But we never find that a woman was given the post of chief executive. This is in accordance with the injunctions of the Manu Samhita. But unfortunately, the Manu Samhita is now being insulted, and the Aryans, the members of the Vedic society, cannot do anything. Such is the nature of Kali Yuga. So obviously this Prabhupada wrote in 1977 when Indira Gandhi was in power. And somehow he didn't like that. Nothing happens unless ordained by destiny, obviously, but we create our destiny. So Devaki is trying to please Kansa by her words. Devaki knew very well that because the killing of her many children had been ordained by destiny, Kansa was not to be blamed. There was no need to give good instructions to Kansa. If a foolish person is given good instructions, he becomes more and more angry. Moreover, a cruel person is more dangerous than a snake. A snake and a cruel person are both cruel, but a cruel person is more dangerous because although a snake can be charmed by mantras or subdued by herbs, a cruel person cannot be subdued by any means. Such was the nature of Kansa. So Devaki is trying everything. Nanvaham tehi avaraja dina hatsuta prabho datum arhasi mandaya ange mam charmam prajam. My Lord, my brother, I am very poor, being bereft of all my children, but still I am your younger sister, and therefore it would be worthy of you to give me this last child as a gift. So she is trying every way possible to make Kansa to melt his heart and spare the life of this baby girl. Shri Shukuvacha upaguyatma jamevam rudatya dina dinavat yachitastam vinirabharsya hastadachichite kala. Shukdev Goswami continued, piteously embracing her daughter and crying, Devaki begged Kansa for the child. But he was so cruel that he chastised her and forcibly snatched the child from her hands. Although Devaki was crying like a poor woman, actually she was not poor, and therefore the word used here is dinavat, like a poor woman. She had already given birth to Krishna. Therefore, who could have been richer than she? Even the demigods had come to offer prayers to Devaki, but she played the part of a poor, piteously afflicted woman because she wanted to save the daughter of Yashoda. But Kansa, very cruel. Tam grihitva charanayor jatamatram swasusutam apotya chelash prishthe swarthon mulit sohrda. Having uprooted all relationships with his sister because of intense selfishness, Kansa, who was kneeling on his knees, grasped the newborn child by the legs and tried to dash her against the surface of his stone. Sa tadhastat samupatya sadyo devyam varam gata adrishyatanuja Vishnu sayudhashta mahabhuja. The child Yogamaya Devi, the younger sister of Lord Vishnu. So there's this word Anuja. Adrishyata Anuja Vishnu. So she cannot be Anuja of Vishnu or younger sister of Vishnu if they were not both born from Yashoda at the same time. The child Yogamaya Devi, the younger sister of Lord Vishnu, slipped upward from Kansa's hands and appeared in the sky as Devi, the goddess Durga, with 8 arms, completely equipped with weapons. So she had 8 arms, not 10 arms, shown in the picture behind me. Kansa tried to dash the child downward against a piece of stone, but since she was Yogamaya, the younger sister of Lord Vishnu, she slipped upward and assumed the form of goddess Durga. The word Anuja, meaning the younger sister, is significant. When Vishnu or Krishna took birth from Devaki, he must have simultaneously taken birth from Yashoda also. Otherwise, how could Yogamaya have been Anuja, the Lord's younger sister? See, not many people know about all these details. Divya Sragam Ambaralepa Ratnabharanam Bhushita Dhanu Shuleshu Charmasi Shanka Chakra Gadadhara Siddhacharana Gandharva Apsara Kinnarogaya Upaharitorup Balibhi Stuyam Manedam Abravit. The goddess Durga was decorated with flower garlands smeared with sandalwood pulp and dressed with excellent garments and ornaments made of valuable jewels, holding in her hand a bow, a trident, arrows, shield, a sword, a conch shell, a disc, and a club, and being praised by celestial beings like Apsaras, Kinnars, Urgas, Siddhas, Charans, and Gandharvas, who worshipped her with all kinds of presentations. She spoke as follows. Kim maya hatya manda jata khalu tavant krit yatra kvava purva shatrur ma hinsi kripanan vratan. O Kansa, you fool, what will be the use of killing me? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has been your enemy from the very beginning and will certainly kill you, has already taken his birth somewhere else. Therefore, do not unnecessarily kill other children. So that must be enough to scare Kansa to the core, actually. Iti prabhashyatam devi maya bhagavati bhuvi bahunamani ke peshu bahunama babhuvaha. After speaking to Kansa in this way, the goddess Durga Yogamaya appeared in different places such as Varanasi and became celebrated by being named such as Annapurna, Durga, Kali, and Bhadra. The goddess Durga is celebrated in Calcutta as Kali, in Bombay as Mumma Devi, in Varanasi as Annapurna, in Cuttack as Bhadrakali, and in Ahmedabad as Bhadra. Thus, in different places, she is known by different names. Her devotees are known as Shaktas, worshippers of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the worshippers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself are called Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are destined to return home back to God and in the spiritual world, whereas the Shaktas are destined to live within this material world to enjoy different types of material happiness. In the material world, the living entities must accept different types of bodies. Brahmyam sarva bhutani. According to living entities' desire, Yogamaya or Maya, the goddess Durga, gives him a particular type of body. This is mentioned as a yantra or a machine. But the living entities who are promoted to the spiritual world do not return to the prison house of a material body. The words Janmana eti indicate that these living entities remain in their original spiritual bodies to enjoy the company of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental abodes of Vaikuntha and Vrindavan. So Goddess Durga at that time, he appeared in different places in India and she is worshipped over there. But Prabhupada makes sure that we understand that we are not supposed to worship like Shaktas. We are Vaishnavas, so we worship Supreme Lord and we can pay respect to Durga Devi. We should. But main bhakti is towards Krishna. Telatyaabhi hitam akarnya kansa param vismita devakim vasudevam cha vimachya prashrito bravit. After hearing the words of Goddess Durga, Kansa was struck with wonder. Thus he approached his sister Devaki and brother-in-law Vasudeva, released them immediately from their shackles and very humbly spoke as follows. Now, why was Kansa astonished, struck with wonder? Many reasons. Kansa was astonished because the goddess Durga had become the daughter of Devaki. Since Devaki was a human being, how could the goddess Durga become her daughter? This was one cause of his astonishment. Also, how was it that the eighth child of Devaki was a female? This also astonished him. Asuras are generally devotees of Mother Durga, Shakti, or of demigods, especially Lord Shiva. The appearance of Durga in her original 8-armed feature, holding various weapons, immediately changed Kansa's mind about Devaki's being an ordinary human. He thought that Devaki must have had some transcendental qualities. Otherwise, why would the goddess Durga have taken birth from her womb? Under the circumstances, Kamsa, struck with wonder, wanted to compensate for his atrocities against his sister Devaki. See, he got really scared. First he thought, how can Durga be born from my sister Devaki? Devaki must be some superhuman, some other person, some demigoddess. She cannot be just a simple, ordinary human being. And then, how come the eighth child was a female? Because he always had thought the eighth child will be the son who will kill me, and then I'm going to kill him. And here the eighth child was a female. And then further astonishing, Aho bhaginyaho bhama maya vam vat papmana purushad iva patyam bhavo hinsita sutta. Alas, my sister, alas, my brother-in-law, I am indeed so sinful that exactly like a man-eater Rakshas who eats his own child, I have killed so many sons born of you. Rakshasas are understood to be accustomed to eating their own sons, as snakes and many other animals sometimes do. At the present moment in Kali Yuga, Rakshas fathers and mothers are killing their own children in the womb, and some are even eating the fetus with great relish. Thus, the so-called civilization is gradually advancing by producing Rakshasas. So this is the level of civilization these days. Satvaham tyakta karunyas tyakta gyati suhritathala kana lokan vagamishyami brahma heva mritashvasan. Being merciless and cruel, I have forsaken all my relatives and friends. Therefore, like a person who has killed a Brahman, I do not know to which planet I shall go, either after death or while breathing. Now he is lamenting. Devam apyan ritam bhakti na martya eva kevalam yad vishramba daham papa swasur nihat vanchishun. Alas, not only human beings, but sometimes even providence lies. And I am so sinful that I believe the almond of providence and killed so many of my sisters. So he was thinking, this voice from the sky lied because he said the eighth child of your sister Devaki will be the cause of your death. So he always thought eighth child will be the son, first of all. And secondly, now the eighth child he tried to kill and she became Durga, and she just showed her Durga feature and she disappeared. So where is the eighth child? And Durga said, that child has taken birth somewhere else. So he is thinking, this voice from the sky can also lie. I thought also only human beings lie. But what is this happening? Could not understand the pastimes of Krishna. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, here Durga is stated as the sister of Lord. So the wife of Lord Shiva, I mean, what is the connection between like Lord Parvati,
No.
Durga, or Vaishno Devi?
Sister of Krishna is Yogamaya. Yogamaya took the form of Durga. Yogamaya is not Durga. Durga is expansion of Yogamaya, yes. But Yogamaya is not Durga.
Okay.
She took the form of Durga because why? Kansa was worshipper of Durga. His Ishtadevi was Durga.
Okay.
And then he got more bewildered, more scared. What is this happening? And later on, Yogamaya appears from the womb of Devaki in Dwarka as Subhadra.
Guruji, I was about to ask this question that Subhadra ka kaise?
Oh, I'm sorry. वही पूछ रहे थे.
No,
Subhadra was born later on in Dwarka.
Okay.
And then Arjun comes and marries her.
Okay. And another thing, Prabhuji, ये जो कंसा के मन में feeling आ रही थी that God can also lie. This kind of feeling we also get sometimes, because when we see that the things are not suitable to us, कभी कुछ होता है कि लोग बोलते हैं अच्छा तुम्हारे साथ ये होगा, एंड विच मतलब वो हमारे लिए नहीं सूटेबल है या हमारी पसंद का नहीं है, तो then लगता है नहीं नहीं यार ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, ये गलत हो सकता है. This kind of feeling which Kansa was getting, we also, मतलब I also get it. I should not say we. I also get this kind of feeling sometimes that कभी किसी ने कुछ बोला हो आपकी लाइफ में ऐसा होगा which is not suitable to us, and हम बोले नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं होने वाला, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला, and when it happens then we say oh ये तो, and ये जो है कि एक feeling आती है कि नहीं God can also lie, या predictions can also be wrong.
See, here in this case, the predictions were by the demigods. So in our case, prediction is by some people who might know to a certain extent.
हाँ.
So they could be right, they could be wrong, they could be right to some extent, 10%, 20%, 80%, whatever. But regardless, a devotee always feels, always, that I was supposed to get more punishment. By mercy of Krishna, the punishment was reduced. And it really happens also like that. And also, no matter what, whether he gives me, whether he kicks me, whatever he does, I'm not leaving it. Simple as that. So he becomes duty bound to protect his devotees also. See, testing will always be there. But then if we still don't leave him, then I'm not going to leave chanting of your holy names or serving you. It's up to you. You do whatever you want to do. Then he will protect also. What is it going to do?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in material world, Maya is controller, and for devotee, Yog Maya is controller, or Yog Maya is in the Dham of Lord.
No, in material world, she can also help control. She can help. For devotees, yes. She can protect.
I mean,
Mahamaya,
different,
Yoga,
Maya and
see,
Yoga.
Mahamaya or Durga is superintendent of this material world, energy, this Shakti. So that's why she is called Durga, because this material world is called Durga. So her job is to keep the living entities here for their rectification. So she has all these weapons in her hand. To do what? To give us the miseries. Birth, death, old age, disease, adidevik, adibhotik, adhyatmik, klesha, all kinds of miseries. That's why she has so many weapons in her hand to give us the miseries. She has a trident, and it is said all the 3 points of the trident are adidevik, adibhotik, adhyatmik, klesh. And then we go to her, pray to her, oh Rupam Dehi and this Dehi, Dhanam Dehi. She also gives, but then she gives the miseries also. Then we pray to Shivji, her husband, oh give us this. He also gives, but those who are intelligent, they should understand his wife is Durga, who gives everything to everybody, whoever which we desire. But they themselves don't even live in a house. They don't even have a house. They live under a tree. So Shivji lives in cremation grounds sometimes. Why? Because they themselves don't want to enjoy in this material. This is her service to Krishna. So she does this service. Otherwise, she doesn't want to do this. So then one who is fortunate, he comes in contact with devotees and they teach, and then he understands better perform devotional service to get out of here. And as soon as, that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no? Devi Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Devim Prakritim Ashrita. That those who are Mahatmas, they take shelter of my Devi Prakriti, not Maya, Yoga Maya. Then they come under my jurisdiction. And Mahamaya, who is what? Mahamaya. Yoga Maya herself becomes Mahamaya in the material world. It's all Krishna's energy. It doesn't come from anywhere else. But her service is different. That's all.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Martha. Okay, so we'll stop. Yeah, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare